So this is one video that I've been really reluctant to make for two reasons. One is because the two gentlemen I'm going to talk about I highly respect. I love both of them. I've learned a lot from both of these guys. And number two, honestly, I don't feel qualified that I should critique them. If you're new to my channel, Blue Collar Catholic isn't just my name, that's who I really am. Up until 3 weeks ago, when I was laid off due to the pandemic, I was a delivery guy, a milkman, worked 12, 14 hours a day, blue collar job, just delivering milk in convenience stores throughout Central Florida. So these guys, if you're not familiar, Taylor Marshall is a theologian with a PhD, a professor, author of many books. I believe he was a Episcopalian priest before he converted to Catholicism. Really smart guy. Like I said, I learned a lot from this gentleman. Bishop Barren, goes without saying, another doctor or PhD, really super educated dude, loves the Lord. And both of these guys are gifts to our church. I believe Taylor Marshall was given the gift of teaching. He's a great teacher. And I believe Bishop Barron was given the gift of evangelization. He's a great evangelist. And we can learn from both of these brothers in the church. Now, they have a little disagreement I want to address. But first, I want to say, as a Catholic, I'm proud of the way Catholics disagree. I was an evangelical for almost 30 years, and the way they would go at each other, name calling, personal attacks, was a bad witness for Christ. I seen Taylor Marshall critique a teaching of Bishop Barren, and he kept it to that teaching. I never heard anything personal. If anything, he said nice things about Bishop Barren personally. And I think that's, the world could learn from the Catholic Church. We don't attack each other. We try and help each other. If we see someone in error, we try to show them where they're wrong. But it's all done in love and in kindness, the way we're instructed to do. So, with that said, let me get on to this controversy. So Bishop Barron came out with a video where he said he believes that we can reasonably hope that hell is empty. Taylor Marshall said this is a dangerous teaching. I never heard him call it heretical. I didn't hear that. Just said it's dangerous and it's very close to universalism, which is heretical. But what Bishop Barron was saying is we have a reasonable hope that hell is empty. So I'm going to give you a couple scriptures to give you both sides of it, and then I'm going to tell you where I fall. And again, this is just my opinion, and I'm only giving it because quite a few people have asked me my opinion of this. So I'm going to start with the scriptures. In Taylor Marshall's defense, Jesus, Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life. Those who find it are few. So you say it's pretty clear. The way to heaven is wide. The way to hell is wide. The road to hell is wide, heavily traveled. The road to heaven is narrow, and few travel that road. So you would think, based on that verse, that more people are going to hell than are going to heaven. Never mind hell being empty. Okay, so then, in defense of Bishop Barron, we'll see what our first pope says. 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 9. The Lord is not slow about the promise, as some count slowness, but is forbearing toward you, not wishing that any should perish. Not wishing that any should perish. And I think you could put along with that verse, John 3:16. We all know, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. But John 3:17 says, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world. So another wonderful thing about the Catholic Church is if there are disputes, we have somewhere to go. You know, when you're a Protestant, it's Bible alone. It's my interpretation versus yours. I don't care if you're a pastor, if you're a deacon, if you're an elder. You know, if I believe what I believe, then I'm right and you're wrong. And that's why there's like 40,000 different Protestant denominations. And obviously that's chaotic. We have a God of order. He doesn't want that. So he gave us a church. And in that church, he gave us a body of teachers called the magisterium. These are the bishops of the church. And what I can find is, to be a Catholic, you have to believe there is a hell. But the Catholic Church, it never proclaims who goes to hell. Even if you've been excommunicated, they can't say for sure you're in hell. The only thing the church claims is those who they believe are in heaven, those we call the saints. But we leave it to God to decide who's in hell. We don't make a judgment on that. The church, the magisterium, saying we don't know, because God can do anything at the last minute, someone's deathbed. You never know how God can intervene in someone's life. So kind of leaves it where both of them could be right. You know, kind of seems that way. So the person that I believe has got it closer to what's right, and where I fall is a man named Peter Kreeft, another brainiac with a PhD, super smart dude. Peter Kreeft says this. He says, you know, Jesus gave a parable about a shepherd having 100 sheep. He said if one went astray and was lost, any good shepherd would leave that 99 and go search for that one. You know, I'm a father of 5 children. If one of my children walked away from the faith, I would leave those 4 and just focus on that one to bring them back into the fold. So Peter Kreeft goes on to say, so to Jesus, losing one sheep is a lot. If one sheep goes down that path, it's wide. It's too wide for Jesus. So I think the point he was making is, maybe Jesus saves most of us. He doesn't say hell is empty, but he says, the point I believe Kreeft is making is by the grace of God, unknowing to us how he does it, by this awesome merciness of Christ. The heart of Christ is full of mercy. God is love, and somehow, we make it through the fire, like Paul tells the Corinthians, some will barely make it through the fire, but will be saved. So I think that's where Kreeft is going, and I kind of believe that maybe by the grace of God, most of us will be saved. Is Bishop Barron right? Can we reasonably hope that hell's empty? I suppose. I mean, I can reasonably hope my job will call me back today. Will they? Probably not. So please pray for me, because Florida unemployment is terrible. But God can do anything. So I can have a reasonable hope. So just like Barron saying, we can reasonably hope. That's not heretical. That doesn't go against any teaching of the church. If Bishop Barron were to say there's no hell, then we would have to call him out as a heretic. At this point, I can say this is just one subject that we disagree. I don't think it's reasonable. I think it's improbable that hell is empty. But again, that's just my opinion. As a blue-collar Catholic, reading all these great minds like Taylor Marshall, Peter Kreeft, Bishop Barren, guys way smarter than me. Now that I'm laid off, I got a lot of time to make these videos. So I'm just putting it out there. But like St. Luke says in the book of Acts, the Bereans were of noble character because they searched the scriptures to see if these things we're saying were true. Search the scriptures, church history, the church fathers, the writings of the popes, and come up with your own decision. But what I would say is I hope Bishop Barron is correct. But I'm going to live like Taylor Marshall is correct. I'm going to live like the gate is wide. I'm going to pray for my loved ones and for the lost that the gate is wide. I'm going to pray that the gate is wide. I'm going to pray like the gate is wide for everyone that I meet. I'm going to evangelize every day like the gate is wide. by the grace of God, I'm going to try and live like the gate is wide. But I'm going to hope that hell is empty. But I'm not going to count on it. I'm not going to count on it because St. Paul says we got to run the race. We got to persevere. So, you know, if Bishop Barron's right, there'll be a lot of us who are like, whoo, cool. But if Taylor Marshall's right, there's going to be a lot of Catholics saying, oh, crap, at that time when they pass over. So, live like the gate is wide. Pray like the gate is wide. But trust in God that he loves you and he's merciful and he will do anything he can that none will perish. So that's my opinion for what it's worth. But again, I respect both of these guys. I recommend both of these guys. Bishop Barren, a great evangelist. Taylor Marshall, great teacher, theologian. Check them out. God bless.